We are in August, so it's expected. We're expected to see the August rains, raining from morning from dawn till dusk. So it's expected. It's just for you to kit up properly.
What is this news about ASU giving the federal declaring Tuesday 26th as a day of protest across campuses?
You have more information about that? You tell us.
Okay, I think that ASU actually has said that, look, there's been a lot of promises, unkept promises by government, and they felt that, look, with all these promises unkept by government, and government seems not to be showing the favorable interest in academics, and they feel that, look, let's give a warning signal to government that, look, if nothing is done, we might end up going on a strike.
Well, for me, I believe that this is another pressure tactic from ASU. One thing that is certain is that this government has proven to be responsive in resolving issues like this. So we expect to see a meeting between both government and ASU to resolve these issues. The issues, the concerns they raised are genuine. I'm talking about their welfare and, interference in the affairs of, universities. I believe that it's time to call them to the round table to discuss before, the thing escalates and, the poor students have to suffer to be out of the classrooms and all of that. We just hope to see that this issue is resolved before Tuesday, and we're talking tomorrow.
Tomorrow. No, it's not strike yet, but at least it's good that they're warning government. Look, we may go on strike if nothing is done.
Well, we hope that that is resolved. Let's move into what we have for you today. Hello, Nigerians, and good morning. You're welcome to another brand new week. This is FCT Brief. Nigeria's power sector may soon get a much-needed boost as federal government is in talks with Japan for a $238 million loan to expand the national grid. For decades, Nigerians have battled with unreliable electricity, frequent blackouts, system collapse, and high costs for alternative power. However, the federal government says help may be on the way. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, confirmed that discussions are ongoing with Japan to secure funding aimed at expanding transmission lines, modernizing infrastructure, and bringing more communities onto the grid.
Beyond the loan, the plan also includes technology transfer and training opportunities to ensure Nigerian engineers can maintain the system long-term. Energy analysts believe this could reduce the pressure on households and industries that spend billions yearly on generators and fuel. If the deals pull through, Nigerians may be one step closer to enjoying a more stable and reliable power supply. But until then, many will keep their fingers crossed and their generators running. And to further expand the discussion, we have the National President Association of Public Policy Analysis, Prince Will Okori. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, now let's go this way. The $238 million loan the government is already proposing seems to be a laudable move that will help boost our infrastructure and the electricity value chain. But with the history of abandoned projects across Nigeria, what do you think the government can put in place to further reassure Nigerians that this will not be one of such projects?
If I answer you, let me tell you, I have one worry. Each time these issues are discussed in the media, you wouldn't see anybody representing the Minister of Power on the set and Minister of Finance to discuss these issues. The government will stay away. And you see private people like us come and talk. And then they gather what we say and raise propaganda and confuse the citizens the more. For instance, a discussion like this, the Minister of Power should be here. Minister of Finance should be here. And let's discuss this matter. There are so many loans that have been collected by Nigeria. Nigeria, as of today, is losing their independence. We are going back to slavery. Because if you are economically enslaved, you are not free. Today, Nigeria is owing. The World Bank has put in about 18.2 billion naira, $1 billion in Nigeria. China, $5.16 million. France, $652.7 million. Germany, $125.62 million. IMF, $3.4 billion as at May 2025. All these monies all these are loans. You could see that the House of Representatives is investigating the 59 billion naira loan for metering, which was in the media over the weekend. How are these monies utilized before you borrow more? Now, when you are owing World Bank, you are owing IMF, you are owing China, you are owing Germany, you are owing France, where lies the independence of this nation?
But some people might argue with you, Mr. Okori, some people might argue with you that taking loans is not bad. The reasons for taking those loans should be what should be considered. And this is for public infrastructure to improve a challenge that we all agree that we have a power challenge in Nigeria. Now, are you saying that the problem now is that we're taking too much loans, or the reason for taking this loan is not transparent enough?
Utilized. We hear about loans. We don't hear about the utilization. We need to see how are these monies used. For instance, the power sector you're talking about now has been decentralized. States are having their own electricity markets. And how are they going to bring loan? Will they bring loan now and share it to the states to handle their transmission lines? What is the policy framework on managing transmission lines and infrastructure? The meter they borrowed for, is meter not an infrastructure? Is meter not a power sector infrastructure? How is the money utilized? What worries us more is that these nations that are giving these loans will tell you they are supporting Nigeria to grow. They are supporting anti-corruption. But why are they not putting money to support ICPC, EFCC, Consumer Protection Commission, to investigate how these monies are utilized? And if private sector of CSOs approach them, they'll tell you they want government to government. They want government to go. Is ICPC not government? Is EFCC not government? Is the Consumer Protection Commission not government? Why is World Bank that claims they are in Nigeria to help the... There's a kind of conspiracy among the international community that are giving these loans. A prodigal son cannot be funded. Because if you don't see the result of the one given, and you can't do accountability by government alone. In Nigeria, government make policy, government implement, government evaluate, government monitor. Where are the demand side representatives? The citizens for which these monies are collected. When have they started with government to look at how these monies are utilized? But these monies are being borrowed on behalf of Nigerian citizens. Even children unborn will grow up to meet loan that will affect their growth and their future. So it is not proper. I'm not saying that loan is wrong. But let all the monies that have been borrowed since privatization in 2013, let us review how they've been utilized.
Now, Mr. Okori, before such monies are taken, or before bills are passed, or proposals like this, they go through the National Assembly. And there are processes to this, which includes public hearing. Now, when public hearing is being called for issues like this, why are voices like yours on
When have they called public hearing on borrowing for power sector? When? And even when the National Assembly do that public hearing, you know their own is to monitor, do oversight, and come up with resolutions. And when they say it is the executive that will implement, is the executive implementing any? Now, I remember that we made presentation during the National Assembly investigation of the Band A, increase in tariff. Every suggestion was made. National Assembly came up with a position. Did the executive implement? Now, why will that shows you again the position of our democracy. We are in trouble. Because when, okay, this money now, the Minister for Power, I say, what is the report of the Minister of Power on the 200 billion naira loan of 2020? What is the report? Ask the Minister, where is the report of utilization of that 200 billion naira loan, out of which 59 billion was released? And out of the 59, what got to the people was 55 billion. What happened to them? And how many meters were installed? Has there been verification? Now, what we are saying here is, you see, this idea of go and borrow, any administration that comes, use the power sector as a cash cow. Has there been any impact assessment by consumers? Has there been any forum where the minister brought consumers together and brought these people together to say, okay, where do we go from here? These monies we borrowed, see the way it is. How many states does all these monies they borrow impact on? Today, even all the money World Bank has put in GIZ, even as they're talking of this one now, remember African Development Bank is driving renewable energy. Loan is coming from there too. Money is coming from there. So are you working on transmission or you're working on renewable? Which one are we taking? Just like you have the roads that are bad. You have not repaired them. You are doing coastal highway. And the ones you can't drive from here at Asaba, but you're building coastal highway, destroying houses. I mean, the policy direction of the government is really confusing and worrisome. We cannot live on loan. We have oil in this country. How much is generated from our oil? How much is generated from the natural gold and all the things in Zamfara? How much is generated from them? Who accounts? There's coal in Enugu. How much is generated from it? Oh, okay, look at since this administration came. The cost of tariff in electricity has increased. The fuel cost has increased. Every tariff, telecommunication, where is the money? All the money generated through these sources, where are they? That you keep generating and Nigerians are suffering. You are still borrowing. You are putting the living Nigerians into poverty and penury. And you are not creating another poverty and penury and destruction for upcoming generations who will now struggle to pay back these loans. It's unacceptable.
But we would like you to hold your thoughts. We need to go on this quick commercial break now. Don't go anywhere. We still have more for you on the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us on this conversation. Now, if you're just joining us, we have been speaking about the national grid expansion agenda of the federal government, and helping us dissect this issue is Prince Will Okori. He's here with us in the studio.
Yeah, earlier you talked about, you agreed with the fact that it's not bad in itself to take loans. Now, how do you think we can best handle this? Because maintaining the national grid is one thing we must do. We keep having the collapse of the national grid and every now and then. How do we get it back on steam if we don't take the loan? And which are the right agencies to kind of checkmate this? So you also talked about the National Assembly. We can't run away from the fact that we need this loan. So what are those things that you will say should be put in place in the immediate so that when this loan is taken, it is used for the right purpose, rather than say we should never take this loan?
If you ask me, this loan shouldn't be taken now. Let us review the transmission policy within the context of the New Electricity Act that has given states the power to generate, transmit, and distribute power. How much has the states put into the grid? How much has the distribution companies put into the grid? How much has federal government put in? How much has the international community put in all this while? Let's review it. And now look at, is it just collecting loan and you create confusion? There won't be accountability. There has to be transparency and accountability because this issue concerning money. Besides, where is the preventive measure in place to prevent misuse of all these monies? You have, what is the preventive mechanism of ICPC and EFCC? All you hear is when an administration has gone, and they start bringing them to say, before they earn that money you are talking about, what did you do to prevent it? There has to be proper evaluation of impact of the previous loans that have been collected in the power sector to not justify whether there is need to take another. And if another is to be taken, you now have a framework to manage it to ensure that that loan is judiciously and prudently used to benefit the citizenry. Because these loans, let's not just be looking at loan. Look at how do we pay back.
Yes, Mr. Okori.
The money we are owing today is in trillions.
I like the fact that you highlighted the silence of states in this matter, because if you take a look at the decentralized options that we have, like the mini grids, the rooftop solars, these have been proposed to, reduce the pressure on the centralized grid. Now, but the states are silent on this matter. Why do you think they are always missing and the pressure is more on the federal government than the states?
Because the federal government, the Ministry of Power, has not done what they should do. The management office, who manages the debt in the power sector? How does it impact on the people? This is what I'm saying. You don't just like they say mass metering. Do you know they said that national mass metering program was to provide meter free for consumers? But what we are hearing now from NEC and others is that meter wasn't free. It was a loan given to discos for them to get meter. And remember before then, there was a meter access provider in 2018. They said if you pay, you get refunded through energy credit. How many persons have been refunded? Which unit monitors these policies to ensure that they are actually implemented? In the Ministry of Power, who represents the consumers? You have transmission, generation, distribution, none for consumers. So you don't just come and say things and collect money, and before you know it, the money disappears.
So what kind of what kind of stakeholders engagement should we have now? You just talked about there should be a popular engagement, whether from the National Assembly or the executive will call for it. Now, because we have this national grid issue, we also have the off-grid, the solar and all that. Now, what way or which way do you think Nigeria can go? If the on-grid is not that effective, it's riddled with all this crisis we're talking about, how about the solar and the renewable energy?
What is happening? Like you said, on-grid, weather is not working, the renewable. Have you know about solar lantern that doesn't last 1 month? It gets spoiled. Who monitors the quality and standard? But beyond that, what is happening in the power sector is like what is happening in the road infrastructure. From here to Benin, the road is not good. And the federal government, rather than repair that road and make it motorable, they abandoned it. And when you now talk about infrastructure loan for road, coastal highway, meanwhile, the one that is existing is not functional. Just like because of climate change and climate fund, renewable energy fund within the global community, and the manufacturers of renewable products who are in those countries are now sponsoring advocacy for renewable as if on-grid hasn't been working. What have we done to improve the on-grid? Like I said now, all the money since 2013 that privatization took effect, how much has government given to the discos? Who has evaluated? So what I'm saying, for instance, it should be in some layers. The first layer, let us interrogate loans that have come to the power sector since privatization till date. How have they been utilized? Let there be an investigation. Let there be investigation on how all the loans that have come for the power sector since 2013 till date have been utilized. Let's see the successes achieved. Like the National Assembly Committee is doing a national mass metering now. And what they are discovering is if you see it, you'll be. I'm not their member. I'm not permitted to speak on that here. But I know that it wasn't properly handled. How can you deceive Nigerians and say that a meter will be free? Meanwhile, the meter is not free. Consumers are paying. It's deceit. Now you're telling us this money is coming for transmission line. Meanwhile, you have decentralized it. How will the states key in? So there has to be a kind of discussion between the federal government and states within the context of the decentralized electricity market to now know who should fund transmission line in states and who should fund it at the national level.
We hear you. Time and time again, you've come to this table to highlight insincerity of government in terms of our power sector in Nigeria. At this point, aside this investigation that you're calling for, should government focus on this grid expansion, or should there be a complete overhaul of the power sector since, all attempts to, expand this sector has failed?
I expect you to go and find out from government why I keep saying that insincere. I've dropped one information now, that Nigerians were told that the mass metering will be free. And we have discovered it's not free. It is paid for. Why would they tell Nigerians such a thing? I have told you now that they have decentralized the power sector. Why would they collect loan for transmission without discussing with the states how they will manage their transmission lines, their plan for managing it, and know whether there is need for that? Then I've told you now, all the loans that have been collected, you are the media person. Find out from them that I came and reeled out these facts. That you want to know how were these monies used. Why is government not setting up a commission of inquiry into utilization of loans for the power sector? Why? I've told you now that as Bureau of Public Enterprise, at the inception, they said the state, federal, and local will own 40% of the value chain in the power sector. Ask them, who is representing the states? Who is representing local governments? Who is representing federal? And all these are they not lies. When you tell Nigerians this, a different thing is happening in the sector. It's not fair. Citizens that you are deceiving. This is why most youths today don't believe government. Most youths today tell you that they don't believe.
All right, Mr. Okori, I'd like you to hold that thoughts because we need to take another short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll still have more for you on the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for sticking with FCT Brief. Now, we'll still continue our conversation on the national grid expansion agenda of the federal government.
Okay. Some persons actually argue that instead of government concentrating effort fund on grid expansion issue, move into decentralized renewable energy in line with the global energy transition. Would you share that same perspective?
Before I speak on that, let me add another thing. My sister, you said before you went on break, you said I'm always saying that Nigerians are being deceived. Are you aware that last week or thereabout, Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission reviewed the tariff for people under their control, brought it down. The Enugu Electricity Distribution Company objected to it and said they must leave it there. The regulator said they have checked that the people are being overbilled. They refused. Now, NEC and ISO convened a meeting here last week. I went there as a non-state actor to observe. Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission came with their data on why they are insisting that their consumers are being overbilled. And they called the EEDC to come and defend. When I got there and introduced myself, they said I should leave the venue. That they don't need any non-state actor there, that is in-house thing. Why was it secret? This tariff they were discussing, it is the consumers that will pay. And we have a lot of consumer issues in that zone we are handling. They refused and sent me out and said I should leave. Why? Why is it secret? And the people that will pay these bills are the consumers. So you now see how things are shrouded in secrecy. And there's no system that can progress that way. Now back to what you are saying. I'm not against renewable. I've always advocated, if we believe renewable will work, go to Area 10, Mock Plaza. There are over 100 generators there. On at the same time. Smoke, noise. Why can't we do experiments with that? We've done in a villa, renewable. Why is it that where these people, SMEs that operate, let us use it and check how many industries can function under the kind of renewable they are talking about? Shouldn't we maintain the one we have properly while we are exploring the other avenue? Who are the people producing the solar products? Who are the people carrying out installations? Many buildings burn a while after installation. What is the quality? What is the standard?
Now, very quickly,
it's
Mr.
not just
Corey,
talking
because
about
of
money.
time, we've totally run out of time, but I'd like to ask you this question. You know, securing the grid infrastructure is another point. That's another weak point for Nigeria. You know, we constantly see attacks on the national grid that lead us to blackout and all of that. With digitization and expansion, what will change if this is effected? My
dear, let me tell you the truth. We've done research on violent extremism against critical infrastructure in the power sector. UNITA came up with 3 positions if you want to stop violent extremism. 1, community resilience. 2, respect for human rights. Right. 3, good governance. You are asking me about grid, that who is collapsing the grid? Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, what is their duty? To protect national critical infrastructure and assets. But go to their office in FCT here. They will go and stop people from parking in front of other people's premises.
Well, unfortunately,
and put all manner of things to pursue you. But they won't go there to protect the grid.
Unfortunately,
so
we'll
what do you want us
time.
to do?
While the points that you highlighted, we will definitely come back to this matter some other time. Thank you so much, Prince Will Okori, for your time with us on the program.
Thank you. We pray Nigeria moves forward.
Amen.
Truth is needed.
Well, that's our conversation this morning. We are glad that you could be a part of it. It's back to you in Lagos, Riyadh.